I think a huge question going into this game is what kind of Dolphins offense are we going to see? We're not even sure what quarterback we're going to see. Well, let's look at what happened the first couple times these two teams played. First, the week 1 matchup, which Miami actually won, you see that Tua did not throw the ball too often. He only threw the ball 18 times in that game, interestingly enough. Had over 10 yards per attempt, though, in that game. So he certainly made the most of those, of those attempts. Or at the very least, the Dolphins made the most of those attempts, getting a good amount of yards that way. The running game did not do too much in that one, but the main other takeaway here really is Jalen Waddle had, the majority of the yards. I mean, he had over half of the yards in a 100-yard game in a situation where the quarterback only threw the ball 18 times. That's pretty impressive, and on just 4 catches, too. So he made the most of his opportunities. If you look at the Pro Football Focus grades for all the Miami Dolphins offensive players in that game, you see that, at the top of the list, you had Tua. So Tua was a key factor. Him and Jalen Waddle were kind of the key factors in what allowed that game to go so well for the Miami Dolphins. So that's worth noting for sure. That's a big part of why they won, was because of Tua and also because of Waddle. Meanwhile, the second time they played, which was just a few weeks ago, we also saw it come down to the wire. Ended up being a 3-point Dolphins loss in that one. So again, 2 very competitive games the first 2 times these 2 teams played. The stats are, Tua threw the ball more, had, more yards, but less efficiency here, but still pretty good. I mean, those are good numbers. 17 for 30 for 234 yards and 2 touchdowns. You'll take that. One notable thing, though, is that running game working a lot better in this one. As you can see, Mostert and Ahmed both had very good statistical days. Once again, Jalen Waddle over 100 yards. This time, Tyreek Hill also had a pretty decent impact. Although interesting, going over to the PFF grades here, it's actually very different than what happened last time. I mean, there's, some of it's the same, right? You had Jalen Waddle at the top of the list once again. Yeah, okay, he's a key impact guy, sure. But there's, more interesting things. I think the most interesting thing for me is that Tua was actually PFF's second lowest graded player in this game. So that actually might be hope for Miami if Tua does not play, which, seems like it could be the case. Well, according to PFF, they were able to put up a good number of points in this game without good quarterback play, so maybe they could do it again. There's at least hope in that scenario. But let's get into the film. Let's talk about, again, what happened. We're going to mostly talk about the game that was just a few weeks ago, as that was the most recent one. I think that's the one that, where these teams are the most similar as to where they will be come postseason time. And there are some interesting plays to talk about, I think. For example, what you see on the screen, it's a cover 2 zone, and you have Jalen Waddle trying to get into a gap in coverage. And I think this is probably why you saw the low PFF grade from Tua, as there were some opportunities that just they were not able to convert on, but they were getting open, and that's maybe some hope, is that you can hit on those come playoff time, as Waddle is going to be running a route that will get into a gap in coverage. Look, you see right away, as it's really the corner there, Tre'Davious White, who, has been banged up. He's come back and, looked good the last time we saw him on week 18, so maybe he's kind of found himself. I don't know. But you do just have to wonder, as a guy who maybe isn't 100% yet, going up against the speed of Jalen Waddle. In this situation, it's not working too well. Waddle's getting open past him. Tua, though, it looks like Tua just throws the ball away there. Tua doesn't even take that chance. Also, a little thing I saw at the end there, you saw a safety go in, and he could have maybe laid out Jalen Waddle, chose not to. That was DeMar Hamlin who decided not to do that. So kind of a, nice play by him, as, him and Jalen Waddle dap each other up. Kind of fun there. But also, heading over here, we got to talk about the Bills and just how they run their defense. It's a lot of different stuff. They don't do just one thing. They're constantly mixing up what coverage they're in. They use the whole defensive playbook, right? They're doing everything. And on this play, it's going to be a quarters coverage situation. And one of the ways the Dolphins can be effective is, Mike McDaniel came from the Shanahan scheme. Will do that Shanahan stuff, right? Find ways to just scheme guys open. And that's what's going to happen on this play, as you have a receiver running a deep route, but then a halfback running underneath, that can get open. Watch how when this play begins, definitely the deep route, the linebackers, with a play action that's, first moved in, but now definitely trying to get back. So now the halfback, if you throw it there, will have some room to run. That's going to be what Tua does, and they are able to pick up a, first down, when they had a lot of yards to go. I don't think that was intended to go for first down. That was intended to just get some yards back. but they were able to pick up a big chunk play there due to a nice move. But either way, it was going to get you some yards, and this could be a way you could potentially, have an effective offense, even if it's Skylar Thompson out there at quarterback, although again, obviously you hope it's Tua. But also stuff like this, I really thought McDaniel called a really good game in this one, where a lot of times, whenever Buffalo threw at them, they had a good concept to try and beat that, where this one, it's just a quick pick play against man coverage, which this stuff can be effective, but it's only effective really against man, so the fact that it's, against man, I mean, it can work against zone, but it's preferred to be against man, so it's a good situation. Watch as right when this play begins, you're going to see that there's definitely a window for Tua to make this throw. However, Tua's throw is going to be a bit low here. Again, Tua had a bit of an off day. That's fine. That happens. It's football. But, still, it's good that we're getting open in that game, because that can give you hope that potentially guys could get open once again once you play them, in the playoffs. And one more thing that I think is the hope for Miami, which is this play. It's going to be a zone coverage play. You have Jalen Waddle running a deep route on the outside. That's what's happening here. With just a single safety deep, the reality is, I just think for Miami, if they're going to win this game, they're probably going to have to hit on one or two of these. They just are. Watch how when Tua takes the snap, he's going to eventually look over, and you see that, in this spot, it's a 50-50 matchup, but with Waddle's speed, he's going to blow by the corner. As you see, Tua does make a good throw. Waddle's able to make the grab, and they're able to pick up a big chunk play. And the ability to do that, again, that was on Tre'Davious White. If you can get a couple of those in a game, that could be what you need to flip this game and to find a way to win it. In fact, I think that might be what they need to have that happen. And so that's maybe a concern, is if it is, if it is Skylar Thompson, will we be able to hit those? He's going to have to, I think. He really is. So, okay, predictions time. So the Buffalo defensive points per drive on the season is a very good 1.68 given up, whereas the Miami Dolphins offensive points per drive on the season is a very good 2.19 scored. So in the first matchup, the Dolphins scored 50 total points in 18 drives. Weirdly, the Bills had an extra drive in both of the first matchups, so that's kind of odd. But the Dolphins scored 2.8 points per drive in those first two matchups. They have done very well. So is my prediction that they're also going to do very well, and this is going to go great? Well, maybe if they had Tua, I'd be pretty excited, but I don't know who they have. I think all three quarterbacks, as I'm recording this video, have a chance to play in this one, but I don't know what the health situation of any of them are, and that's really concerning for me. Personally, my prediction is they're only going to get 1.5 points per drive. That would be 15 points on 10 drives. I know that's low. I know it's definitely on the low side, but I mean, I watched all of that Dolphins game they just played against the Jets. That's very much not exciting if you're a Dolphins fan, how much they struggled against a good defense, but the Bills can be a good defense as well. So this is I think that was concerning, and I don't know. Granted, I think I've talked through how things could go well, how the Dolphins could get more points per drive in this scenario. There's definitely ways that it can happen, but they're going to have to make sure that they deliver on those, is what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.